Hello, everybody, and welcome to E2G Sports Network as we present to you Championship Sunday in the NFL, my favorite day of the football year. 2 trophies will be awarded today. It's the Final Four, if you will, starting at 3 p.m. and following up AFC and NFC, back and forth. So, Sun Chips and Buddy here for you as we do. Obviously, we're on StreamYard.com. We're the E2G Sports Network, the unsung sports grid, and tune into E2GSports.com, if you will. Lots of writing stuff going on with our product, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And any comments or questions or feedback, please tell us. You can start right here as Buddy and I bring to you the matchups this coming Sunday. Buddy, how are you, man? You all shoveled out everything? Armageddon didn't hit, power's intact, everything good, right?
Yeah, no, they came and shoveled and plowed out. We got the street. We all go in together on a company, and they come and do the whole street.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome.
That's
Except they didn't do the back, and poor Stark, when he went to the bathroom, I don't know where he was for a second. Poor guy.
And me knowing how big your dog is, that tells me how much snow you accumulated where you are.
Yeah, we got 24. We definitely got 24 here.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about that.
Yeah,
so
where I am, it was measured at 18 inches, but I think Warren, Rhode Island was 26 point something, were the highest allegedly in the state. But we all survived it. I'm surprised my power didn't go out, as I'm sure you were. I didn't have a flinch, which is really good. That was my biggest concern going into today because they take priority doing that. But everything's good. Hope everyone out there is safe and sound as well and hydrated and all that good stuff. So take care. If you're shoveling, be careful. There's a lot out there and so forth and so on. Trust me, I did it myself. But it is Championship Sunday, like we said. 2 of the teams today have gone from worst to first in their divisions, worst to first to a championship game. And that would be the Bengals and the Niners. So the new kid on the block probably is the Bengals, as they haven't been there in a while, been to this level in a season, much as a championship game, for quite a while. A lot of you people weren't even alive back then. But so a lot. Yeah, you know, it's true, man. It's true. It is January 30th of the year 2022. Like I said, Buddy and Sun Chips here for you. Please, we welcome your comments. If you don't have a dog in the fight, from a football standpoint, let us know who you're rooting for, who you want to win, who you think will win, so forth and so on. We'll get to Brady stuff later because that's going to be ongoing, and we can talk about that ad nauseum. But we do want to start with the games at hand, Buddy, and a big one in the AFC starting at about 3:05, which I cannot wait for. I'm a diehard Chief fan, as you well know, and people who listen to the shows that I do well know, and I'm just glad it's the early game because I would not know what I would do if it was 6 o'clock. You've been there as a Patriots fan many Sundays. So thankful for that, and I'll grind it out. But Bengals, hey, you know what? Playing with house money, buddy. They go to Kansas City, a team that they beat in Cincinnati just about 3 weeks ago, week 17 of the NFL, and did it mightily at the hands of Joe Burrow and that Arsenio, that offense. But Cincinnati there, we know about the offensive line. We know Burrow holds on to the ball a little bit longer. My first question to you is, he's been sacked numerous times. Is this something they can band-aid today as a team by throwing short passes? Because they live and die offensively, this Bengal team, by making big plays.
Yeah, they kind of have that. If you remember the Andrew Luck offense in Indianapolis, where he was holding on to the ball a while, and they're running 15 to 22-yard pass routes, waiting for guys to get open with not a good offensive line. That's the same thing they're doing. They got to shorten it up, get it into the hands of their 3 playmakers, so and Mixon, and let them break tackles and make moves, and just take the beating off of Burrow, because there's a good pass rush there in Kansas City, and they're going to be able to get home and make a difference. So that's got to be point number 1 for the Cincinnati Bengals. And point number 2 is having a good group out there in coverage, winning with your 4 up front and covering with 7, and these guys knowing where they got to be and knowing where Hill and Kelsey are at all times.
Right. And obviously the offensive line, you would think, and we'll talk about the first matchup too, because Cincinnati did really, really well in that first matchup, but Spagnuolo got a little cute. I was doing some studying on him. Breeland wasn't on Chase. I mean, they left Sorensen out there to dry, who I'm not big on anyway, at least not 30% of the snaps on the field. the Honey Badger is key today, and he's slated to play. That's going to be a difference maker. And we saw it last week. Buffalo exposed that secondary big time when they had to. But Cincinnati needs to do. But again, if the Chiefs get the pass rush, can a lot of Nixon today. But can they change their DNA all season in one game and go short? Is Burrow capable of that? I know you're high on him. I like what he brings, but can they all of a sudden take these receivers and kind of open up a short passing game? A lot of middle screens, a lot of stuff in the slots.
I think if Jeffrey Simmons spent that much time on top of me, I'd learn to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that much. Wouldn't want that dude on me. How many times? 5 times last week he hit him.
Oh my God!
And to get sacked 9 times, like eventually maybe you go to a coach and say, "Hey, can we do this a little different? Maybe so I can play the whole game next week because I don't have a billion hits in me."
Right.
And that's something they got to adapt to. And their offseason has to be building that offensive line. That's got to be priority number one. They've got everything else. They protect Burrow. They're going to be an unbelievable team.
Right. And that's where they have to come through. And I think they will, because you learn from this. And you say what you want about the organization. They've not spent a lot of money. They've made some bad hires, kept the coach there way too longer than he should have been. But maybe they're winning now. It's a different age. Like you said, they haven't done this in God knows how, 30 some odd years, for God's sake. So you would think that something changed then when you have a franchise quarterback like that, who we saw injured last year, getting hit like crazy this year. They have to do that in the offseason. Number one need. Let's talk about Burrow and the receivers. Jamar Chase. Burrow averages 11.9 yards attempt to Jamar Chase. The Chiefs need to take him out of the game. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. I forget the tight end's name. He's got a lot of different stuff to spread it to. Is that something that he needs to come out and do, or does he go to Chase until they can lock him down? Do you dare Chase with the matchup, or do you kind of look at those secondary receivers right from the start as well? Basically what I'm trying to say, if you're Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati offense.
I think you're going to dance with the girl who took you and throw the ball out to Chase and let him make plays, because I think at some point he's uncoverable. I really do.
Yeah.
Like if we get to a Super Bowl and we see Ramsey covering him, I am dying to see what that would look like. Just because I want to see if the best corner in the league can lock this kid down or put him in a position.
Right.
That isn't a prediction. That's just like, can you imagine that matchup type thing?
Mm-hmm.
No, there's nothing wrong with the other two guys. I mean, if you got to feed Boyd and you got to feed Higgins and run the ball with Mixon or check down to him, they got some good weapons who do a lot of things. And the other thing I like about them is they're pretty good blockers. They're not San Francisco level wide receiver blockers, but the Cincinnati wide receivers are good blockers downfield to make things happen.
Yeah. We talked about Joe Mixon. First 11 games, he was getting 19 carries per game. In the last 7, he's only averaged 16. They going away from a little too much. I'm expecting a little heavier dose of Joe Mixon today in the backfield or out of the backfield.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's a tough runner. Maybe set a tone with him. Maybe that's how you get your offensive line being aggressive. Mm-hmm. Fire off the ball, run the football. That type of thing. That voice.
No, but every offensive lineman will tell you when you run the ball, they get to fire off. They can establish that physicality. You don't do that a lot pass blocking, although the tendencies are more when you're running the ball as well. But I like this matchup today. You're right. This Cincinnati team has a lot of weapons at the disposal. Spagnuolo has his work cut out for him today. Not because, and I think he's going to learn from what he did the first game. Played a little too much zone. The third TD reception by Jamar Chase, he was wide open, and that just shouldn't happen. Spagnuolo, I thought, got a little cute, but I think he's the guy who can dial up today with their defense. But you expect the pass rush to be there because of the offensive line for the Bengals? But
I do.
Yeah.
Unless they really see something on film that helps them, and they're able to. But I know Clark and the crew are going to get in there. They're going to make a difference. It is going to come down to Burrow getting rid of that ball early. And if they don't have to blitz, if they don't have to bring Gay or Hitchens or, Bolton from the second level to blitz, just Get home with 4. That's the key to football. Getting home with 4, winning the line of scrimmage. Period.
Right. Right.
You do that, you can set everything else up.
It goes. It's basic fundamental football, right? You win and lose at the line of scrimmage. You set the tones. It's as cliche as it sounds. It all comes back to that. It's won by the big guys, the fat boys on the line, so to speak. The Chiefs are playing in their 4th consecutive championship game at home. They scored 42 points in both playoff games. The 1990 Bills are the only other team to score 40 in back-to-back. Mahomes averaging 33.2 points per game in the playoffs, so he's going to be ready. Offense. This, I'll tell you, all of a sudden the Chiefs have a lot of options in the backfield.
Yep.
With McKinnon.
McKinnon is the difference maker. Yes.
McKinnon he could be the key today with what he can do. 4 playoff games, he's averaged over 113 yards from scrimmage in all 4 of those games, dating back to when I think it was with not
San Fran. He was with San Fran.
Right, with the Niners. The Chiefs are 12-1 when they average fewer than 5 yards per carry this season. Interesting enough. 2-4 otherwise. But how do you see that offense shaking out? I think the Chiefs are going to try to establish that tight game. Again, what we saw last week is patience from Mahomes. Take what they can give you. And I've said this ad nauseum in every show that we've done and every show I've done with the going old school guys. Take what they can give you and let the big stuff open up. And it does that way. And that's what I think they're going to depend on a lot today. Could be a shootout. Something tells me it's going to be a little more defensive than it was last week against Buffalo. But a lot of people are picking Cincinnati in this game today. A lot of people are picking Cincinnati. I guess partly because of the weapons, maybe because of the first time they played. But I think more importantly, buddy, again, they're playing with house money. There's nothing to lose for this team.
Yeah, it's going to see what they come out with. And like I said, the key, that second level, Logan Wilson, what a great performance he had last week. But they gotta put more pressure than they did on Tannehill last week. And a lot of that problem was the kid from New Orleans was not getting any pressure at all. He was getting dominated by Taylor Lewan. Right. Hubbard had a few plays. It was DJ Reader. He was eating inside, man. DJ Reader is a good player. Came over from the Texans. He's a guy in the run game and can push the pocket, and he helped make those 2 guys effective is the way he pushes the pockets. So
right.
DJ Reader is a huge key.
Yeah. Buddy Andre, Johnny Sunchips here for you. If you want to comment, please do. We're on StreamYardLive.com. StreamYard.com live. Duh. And it is it is Championship Sunday, my favorite day. Again, 2 trophies will be awarded. We are the E2G Sports Network, the Unsung Sports Grid. Again, if you want to comment, please do, because you're welcome to any comments, any questions, any feedback. Let us know if you have a dog in the fight, Pats fans. I know your team's not there, but, are you rooting for the Chiefs because they beat Buffalo last week? Are you rooting for San Francisco because of the Jimmy Garoppolo connection? Are you looking forward to a Chiefs-San Francisco 49er matchup from a couple of years ago? Or are you looking back to 1988? Because the NFL Network will be crazy. You want to talk about a history lesson? If the Bengals and Niners make the Super Bowl, you are going to know what it was like in 1980 and 1988 and 1990 when those teams met. Bottom line. So you want to talk about history and not having to worry about where you were when when that happened last. You can see, but what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I'm looking forward to. Go ahead.
Predictions. I thought you were going.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, predictions. You want to start?
Gonna shock you here, dude. 38-35 Cincy.
Yeah.
Big Nut McPherson with a game-winning field goal.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a classic, a real classic. This is going to be a good game. And I'm not going to be surprised if either team jumps up by 10 and the other team bounces back. That's my other prediction in this. Is somebody's going to jump up, but the other team is going to jump back into it. I don't know which team is going to be which, but that is what I see. 38-35.
Dude, no double-digit lead in this game will be safe. I don't care. Maybe up until the final 7 minutes you may, but before then, these teams are both capable of turning it on and flipping a switch if they have to. I like the Chiefs, and not because I'm a homer. I just think they're listening to the noise, and I'll go back to that again. That Mahomes looked really, really well schooled, and his patience gets better every game. I think they're well formed. What told me when I learned a lot about that Chiefs game last week, the demeanor with 13 seconds left. If you heard some of the sound bites on the field, they're prepared for anything this KC team is, and I think they're going to learn. And I'm not going to say it's a revenge game, perhaps, but Steve Spagnuolo is going to be talked about the game plan today, because I think he realizes the ills of what he did just a few weeks ago. I looked at Chiefs 31-28 today. It's going to be close. I'm a betting man. I think the last it was Chiefs by 7. I'd take Cincinnati all day with that. But it could be an instant classic. Hey, it's going to be a good game. Like I said, will it come close to some of the games last week? Who knows? But it's Championship Sunday, and 2 trophies will go out. One will go out. Buddy thinks it's the Bengals. I'm going to take the Chiefs to go to their 3rd consecutive Super Bowl.
So we're doing something fun here. I just made questions up off the top of my head, and people who know me are going to go, yep, this is Buddy Andre. This is who he is. I got questions for Johnny Sunchips, non-football related, just to show you his brilliance.
Jesus.
But Chips, off the top of your head, what do you know about the state of Idaho?
I know that it's known for their potatoes.
Okay, that's obvious. What else do you know?
Boise State? Is Boise State in Idaho?
That's Boise State is in Idaho, yes.
I don't know much more about the state of Idaho.
Isn't it like it's there? It's even worse than Wyoming. Like, I thought Wyoming was mysterious, and people know more about Wyoming than they do Idaho. I think Idaho is the slept-on state.
I think I've never met a person from Idaho, and I've lived in California and New York, so you think it might happen. Never met a person from Idaho that I know of.
How about this? Playing the license plate game, I've never seen a car from Idaho.
That's a good point. I can't remember either. And we've all played that license plates game, right?
Yeah. Idaho, never. Wouldn't even know what it looks like. I mean, how many airports are there? What's the big city? I mean, we know Boise in the blue field at Boise State, the birds landing on it and dying right there on the field, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not laughing because they're dying. I'm dying because it's such a weird concept. But
there's a movie River Phoenix starred in, the late River Phoenix, directed by Gus Van Zandt, called My Own Private Idaho, which is bizarre. Flea from the Chili Peppers is in it, and it's just a whacked out movie. I don't know if it's any relation to Idaho and the whacked out movie. I know the director Gus Van Zandt, and if you're a movie buff, you'll know that he's kind of one of those guys who kind of goes off the grid, if you will, much like a Tim Burton does. But that's the other thing I know about Idaho. Other than that, you know what? Does it even exist, really?
I mean, seriously, put it there on a map. I may not find it.
That's a good point.
I may not. 3rd grade buddy, X over Idaho. I don't know where it is. It's true.
Well, I like that. Oh, you're thinking random questions. I'm like, wow, that came out of the blue.
Yeah. You want another random before we go to the NFC Championship?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, sprinkle it in, man.
All right, we'll do this one.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Who would win an MMA fight between Steve Urkel or Cousin Oliver? And who would you want the guest referee to be?
Wow. I think I'd want Will Smith to be the guest referee. And I think, you know what? Behind that nerdish Urkel thing, the whale thing, I think he's very sneakishly a physical powerhouse. I think he'd whip up on someone. I think playing that role of Urkel, we never saw that side of him. That's all bottled up, man. Bottled up.
I think he'd dominate Cousin Oliver. I think Cousin Oliver, he'd make him his bitch. He definitely would.
Who do you want? Who would you want to ref the fight by chance?
Who would I want to ref the fight? How about William the Refrigerator? Oh, is he alive still? Shit.
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut would be an interesting one, and he could eat hot dogs during it.
Yeah.
And we won't time it out. It'll go by how many hot dogs Joey Chestnut eats.
Right.
Rather than timing it out. Like, this match went 17 hot dogs, the winner.
Or what you can do, the first guy to land 77 6 punches or however many hot dogs he ate, in the July 4th competition would be the winner, right?
Yeah, that'd be an
Something,
interesting way
something
of
quirky
doing it
like that.
too. Yeah,
That's,
it could be good elements with this. This could sell.
I
I got to
like that.
clean up the yard. I think we could do this. You could see if, like, I don't know, Baltimore would play Tarzan Boy in the corner of the yard, and then bang. Like, it'll be the total fake UFC subscription. It'd be the worst. It'd be like low budget. Like, is this pay per view? No, we mail you $5 to watch it.
That's exactly right. Right. We pay you
That's
to
how
watch
we'll
it.
get our numbers.
You said Baltimore, huh?
Yeah, Baltimore Tarzan Boy.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the song just to play.
That would be good.
Coming in. So, yeah, we have 2 more after this.
We'll break it the monotony of the random questions that go to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, if you have any comments on the random questions too, feel free to bring it in. Or another band you think I could get here into the yard for a cheap amount of money.
Yeah, or we could pay a little cheap amount of money to get them to perform. But yeah, your comments, random questions, anything you want. It's obviously it's a cornucopia of quote unquote useless information, but we're more than welcome. So please comment. Buddy Andre, Johnny Sunships for you. Championship Sunday in the NFL. We previewed the AFC. Buddy picked Cincinnati to win. I'm going with my boys, the Chiefs. We're moving on to the nightcap, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. The San Francisco 49ers go to LA to take on the LA Rams for the 3rd time this year and are looking for their 7th consecutive win against the Rams. Buddy, that's got to be in the coach's head. It's got to be in the player's head. I'm going to say one thing about the Rams. They did everything they could last week to gift wrap that game. And we're talking, if they lose that game last week, we're putting them and the Atlanta Falcons from the Super Bowl against the Patriots as one of the bigger choke jobs in the past 10 years because they did everything they could to make that game close. So which Rams team shows up against a team that's in their head? It's in their head, and the Niners know it, and the Rams know it.
We saw both Rams teams last week. We saw one for about 28 minutes.
Yep.
No, we'll call it 29 minutes. The first 28 minutes of the game and the last minute of the game. And the rest of it, we saw the bad Rams team. Which do we see? That is the question. I mean, this team was built for this. To get home, even as the 4 seed, be at home, and then beg San Francisco fans not to buy tickets and trying to get people in the building. Like doing everything you can to protect the home field.
Yep.
There's so many different interesting elements to this.
Let's start with this. Start with the mindset of the teams. 6 in a row for the Niners. Shanahan, McVay coached under Shanahan, was his personal assistant or something like that. But it's the mentor owns the protege, so to speak, right now. How much does that come into the coaching and the players? Because you know they're thinking about it. At least the coaches are, buddy. And the first 10 minutes of this game, be it which way, say San Francisco gets out to a rousing start, you're thinking about that if you're the Rams and McVay, correct? So there's a big mental thing with this.
Yeah, and even if you jump out with a lead, because week 18 they jumped out with a lead.
Yep.
And choked it away. And that's how San Fran got into the playoffs. And the Rams slid down to where they did as the 4 seed. Yeah, there's just something about one team always beating another team.
Yep.
They just have – there's something they see on film. There's something they're able to execute until that other team figures it out or does something different. I think this is the different day for the Rams. I think they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, I don't think they have anybody on that side who can cover him. And, yeah, just the run game, if they can hold on to the football.
That's it.
Cam Akers, hold on to the football and get playoff Sony going. Because that's a real dude. Playoff Sony is a real person.
Yeah, He's almost like Leonard Fournette in the postseason. He'll sift the end zone in a playoff game.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. Six of them in 18 and whatever he has this year. They got to mix him in a little bit more because he is a good postseason player. Blocking up Bosa. We got to see, if Whitworth's back at left tackle. They said he's supposed to be. So that should be intact. it comes down to the defensive side. And what are they going to do with Deebo Samuel? Are you going to put Ramsey wherever he is so he lines up in the backfield and you have Ramsey lined up in kind of a linebacker star position and following him around the field?
Mm-hmm.
And you still got to watch out for Ayuk and Kittle. I mean, the Rams linebackers are a little better in coverage than I thought they were. I learned that last week. I was very surprised by that.
Right.
But the safety play still, I mean, you took Eric Weddle out of the shuffleboard game at the senior center and plugged him out as your starting safety in the playoffs. 3 games in, is he just getting built up, or is he like, crap, man, I've taken some hits in 2 weeks? This is a very interesting game. This is a tough one to pick, but I just think it's the Rams' time. I really do.
Yeah.
And I don't think Aaron Donald's going to let them lose. And another prediction I'm going to make, I don't think Jimmy's making the whole game.
Really? You think they're going to just, yeah?
I think they're going to tee off on him. The way they teed off on Kyler Murray in that first playoff game was 2015 Denver Broncos against Brady-esque.
Right.
And they were just hitting him, coming from everywhere. You know, if it isn't Donald, it's Gaines. If it's not Gaines, it's Miller. You know, and they didn't have to bring a lot of pressure. Yeah, I think this is just the Rams' time. I really do.
You know, the adage is that and you're looking at a Niner team that scored 2 offensive TDs in the postseason this season. You would think that has to change. Jimmy G is one of the more fascinating quarterbacks in recent memory. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why. He's averaged 146 yards per game in his playoff career, which is fewest by any starting quarterback in the postseason over the last 30 years. When Jimmy G passes for no TDs since 2017, he's 9-2, including the playoffs. The rest of the starting quarterbacks doing that are 161, 417-1. These are the most bizarre stats I've ever seen. Again, it's all he does is win. So if he's out of this game, buddy, I think it's doomsday for the Niners. But if he's in this game, they have a shot because this team performs at this guy. Whether they're rallying around him, whether he's likable, this team galvanizes around their quarterback, and his quarterback is dinged up, and we know that. Probably more so than we even know. So he's out there battling. And the physicality of this San Francisco 49er team is tough to match because they come at you. Their receivers block. George Kittle is downfield ripping people's heads off if he doesn't get the ball. They don't complain because you talk about a Rams team buying in for a Super Bowl. Nobody complains on this Niner team. Nobody. Let me talk to the receiver comparison. Deebo Samuel, Cooper Kupp. Who's the better receiver today?
Who's the better receiver? That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Deebo Samuel lined up at the X position, or me allowed to make him a joker?
I guess the total package. Yeah, let's go total package.
Then I think it's Deebo Samuel because he's their power back too.
Yeah.
As much as I worship at the altar of Cooper Kupp, the truth is Deebo Samuel fills multiple roles.
Yep.
With that offense, and he's a guy who has to be watched. You have to know where he is.
Very similar stats, too. Deebo Samuel this year had 162 touches, 1,963 yards from scrimmage, 15 TDs, 37 big plays. Cooper Kupp, 163 touches, 2,209 in yards from scrimmage, 18 touchdowns, 35 big plays. Very similar, but you're right. That wouldn't be the same if Samuel was just a receiver. This is where he's very important to this team. If you're the Rams, you can't Deebo, right? You have to.
And another thing they could do this week is use him to open it up for Kittle and Ayuk.
Yeah.
Maybe hit a big play to Ayuk down the field off of play action to Deebo, because it seems like when he's in the backfield, he gets the ball.
You're right.
And it's that pitch play where it's not necessarily they pitch it right, and he's cutting back left before anything's happening. It's planned, scheme. So it's going to be a lot of fun with this one too.
Yeah. We are making some good football today. In the last 17 seasons, every team in the NFC has been in the Super Bowl at least once, 8 times. So it's going to happen again today. So did I say East? I meant if I said East, I said an NFC West team. That's courtesy of our boy Howard Balzer on his Twitter.
We love him.
Yeah, me too, man. Stafford, a little pressure on him today because, we saw that Rams team kind of ungluing itself last week, but we saw the old Matthew Stafford, buddy, and he took a page out of Tom Brady's book while he was on the sideline, getting it done, making a big play in the fourth quarter on a game-winning drive to Cooper Kupp. Say what you want about the defense, but they had every reason to go into that game tied, go into overtime. And Stafford pulled a page out of the TB12 playbook.
Yeah, no, he was clutch because we were all sitting there saying, is this the Rams and Stafford's moment to collapse? Is it a Matthew Stafford moment? Is there still lion in him is the concern. And just the two plays were great. And just a terrible call to blitz. Leave Antoine Winfield on an island like that with Cooper Kupp. You just can't do that.
Right.
Against the guy who's the number one passer against the blitz. No. Can't do that.
Exactly.
Terrible job. Defensive coordinator Bruce Arians allowing that to happen. Just awful.
No. Again, that tells you about all the miscommunication in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all season long. I like the Niners today. I just do. There's something going on with this team. There's an inner confidence. They're not flashy. I think they just get it done. The better matchup would be the Rams in a Super Bowl would be the more intriguing aesthetically intriguing matchup because of what they can do in the weapons. And there's a ton of weapons on that Ram team. But this is a big game today because, again, they're all in. So there's pressure on the Rams, and they've done really well the past several weeks, including the playoffs, to take the pressure head on and meet it and win. Big pressure today against a team who has a definite mental advantage. I like the Niners in a close game today by like 2 points. I'm going to say, 24. I'm going to say 26-24 San Francisco.
Wow. That'd be an interesting one.
Yep.
I am going to go with the Rams 30-27. I think we see some offense today. Not that the defenses are bad, but I just see the offensive going.
Yeah. I get a little more low scoring than I normally would, but hey, who knows? That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm not in Vegas in my poolside with a cell phone making lunch everybody.
Yeah.
Be that as it may. I did want to ask you before you get random, your thoughts on McDaniels and how close he is from what you're hearing to being the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, well, when it happens, it happens. He's actually legitimately there coaching.
Right.
And I don't know what happened to DeJuan Daniels because I'm kind of pissed about that. I thought he should have been elevated to be the guy in Vegas. So I wonder what the fallout from that's going to be.
Really interesting. Sarah, girl Sarah chimes in. I'm rooting for the 49ers. There you go. All right, there you go. Can we bring the comments in? Who are you rooting for? Just give a couple of sentences. Tell us who you're rooting for. Who do you think will win? Who do you want to win? Sarah likes the 49ers. She's rooting for the 49ers. So thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. And you and I will be meeting pretty darn soon. So
tomorrow.
Right. So you have your Super Bowl matches. We differ a little bit. You have the San Francisco and Cincinnati. You have Cincinnati and the Rams. I have the Chiefs and San Francisco. And the Rams, the Rams. I lived in LA. I want to say one thing about the fan base. There's a lot of transients in LA. It's a melting pot. You move to LA and meet people from all over the country. So that's why there was no team in LA for a long time, because you would bring fans from different parts of the country to root for their visiting team, which is what's happening here today. It's not a great football market. Can it be better? Yeah. But it's not a great football market. It hasn't been in a long time. It's a great media market with TV. But lo and behold, you were talking about on the onset, buddy, it's going to be a heavy San Francisco crowd today because they're going to travel from Northern California. It's not that big of a deal to watch football in LA professionally. You can argue USC is probably the bigger football team in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they're the pro team in Los Angeles.
Right there.
Yep.
That's it. Boom. Now, hopefully it changes because you got a couple really good franchises. You got an all-world quarterback who plays for the Chargers, decent teams, a great field, a great stadium, and a Ram team that is loaded, and they're kind of selling out. So it's kind of neat to see that. So I hope it increases there because I lived in LA for 5 years. It's a great place, and there's a diehard fan base that's just waiting for a reason to cheer. But be that as it may. Um, la la la. Here we go.
All right, I got a couple. I got a random one for you.
Here we go.
A lot of cars have been brought back, redone, made modern. Do you think they'll ever bring back a newer model of the Chevette?
Is that the one that slants?
It's the one that was like a little like pre-escort. Like
I got you. Do I think that'll be the case? Wow. I don't think they will. I would like to see them bring that back. But man, it's tough. Boy, you're making me think about the cars back when we were younger. Some of those really neat cars looked at.
Yeah, it was the one with a hatchback and everything like that, like modernized with a hatchback, and you'd sit back there and collect a great amount of exhaust into your lungs as a kid. Awesome. Awesome.
Dude, it's when cars were cars, man. They're just they're plastic boxes now. Say what you want. I used to have a Toyota Tercel when I lived in California. It was a 1980. Little hatchback, 4-door, but it had a little slant. And like you said, the hatchback, like the Chevette.
Yep.
And I could just open that up and put anything I wanted in there. It stored everything. And it was this little tiny car, which had a lot of space. You don't see that now a lot, but I would like that, buddy. But I don't think they will, because I think everything's different, computerized. I'm not sure it'd be conducive. And quite frankly, a lot of people now who aren't like you and I and only concerned, it's just not a good looking car, so to speak. Could you make it that way? Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Making it, spicing it up. Like,
okay, then I agree with you. They could do that. They could do that. You can't do the same model, but
do you think they'll ever bring back a newer model of the Chevette?
Okay, I like that. I don't think they will, but I'd like to see them.
I think it'd be an interesting
it
thing to see. Even if for 1 or 2 years, people would go out to buy it just because of nostalgia. They could make some money off it. I mean, heck, the Ford Bronco came back. And OJ wasn't in it, so.
Yeah. I used to live in California in the 90s, and there's something to be said for the cars out there, because the weather doesn't beat in them. And you see some cars like Chevettes, like Chevy Novas, that are running and looking as good as some of the newer cars still. So on the topic of cars, you see a lot in California with the weather preserving them. Big Chevy Nova fan myself. Kelly Murphy chimes in. She's going with Cincinnati and the 49ers in her Super Bowl matchup at SoFi Stadium. All right. There you go. At random question 3 out of the way.
All right. Here's random question 4. Who do you think scored more ladies in the 80s? Billy Ocean or Lionel Richie?
Hello. Boy, you know what? Dating back to his Commodore days, but it's just in the 80s, that's a tough one, because Lionel Richie with the Commodores was probably a genetic jackhammer as far as I'm concerned. Because everyone, I had girls I dated back then who loved Lionel Richie. Loved him. Because Eddie Murphy said it best in Raw. You talked about Steven Tyler. You don't have to be a good-looking dude. As long as you can sing, you're going to get the babes, man. Steven Tyler could pull his lips back and swallow himself, but he had more butt than a toilet seat, if you know what I'm saying. That's just the bottom line. Women love a guy who can sing. I'm going to guess. Wow, that's a tough one. Billy Ocean, man. I'll climb every mountain. I'm going to go. I got to go with Lionel.
All right.
Lionel Richie. Yep. Planetarium and all.
The planetarium and the gondola. The mayor of Schenectady. Lionel Richie. What? And I have one more football question.
All right.
What Super Bowl do you think the network would like to see?
What network? Our network?
No, the network that's broadcasting.
Oh God! Oh, if you're gonna fix this game, it's the Rams and the Chiefs.
We got to vote for Lionel Richie.
Yep, there you go. Kelly chimes in. Definitely Lionel Richie, a little LOL, but yep, there you go, Kelly. The women are chiming in. I like that. Always intrigued. Yeah, the matchup that the NFL wants to see is the Rams and the Chiefs, because they're looking at the Bengals as like, okay, this plenty of years to come. The more intrigued now, the Super Bowl is watched by plenty. We know that worldwide. If it's Cincinnati and San Francisco, does it take a little luster away? I mean, people are going to watch it because we do. You don't have to be a football fan to watch it. You have the commercials, you have the halftime. So it's an event now. Zillions of people are going to watch it. But if you're going to dip in the ratings at all, if the ratings are going to take a dip, if Cincinnati, San Francisco allow people to say, you know what, I'm not kind of watching, kind of back and forth.
I agree with you on the answer. I think they want to see Kansas City, LA, and they remember that Monday night game from 2018.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be played in Mexico City and was played at the stadium in LA in 51-48. And it wasn't just offensive touchdowns; there were defensive touchdowns in the game. Like it was a fun game. I think people still have that in the mind's eye to see as a Super Bowl.
Right. And by the way, can I just a little editorial note on the heels of what you just said? Do we need to play a game in Mexico City?
Nope.
No, I mean seriously, we don't. In that game, there was a major smog problem, right? Because it's bad there anyway.
Yeah.
The air quality. That tells you. So don't even subject that. I don't know if they're going to if they plan to do that anymore, but no, you don't need to do that. No. On the heels of what you said.
No, there's not a lot of international games that need to happen.
No. Do you think we need a team in London? Because I think we'll never surpass the football version of football in England to where it's. I mean, it'll be a novelty. Say that if we get a team in London, but after a few years, I think that novelty will wear off. Your thoughts?
London and Toronto if they go international.
Do you think they're going to London?
I really do. I'd say it might be a little ways off. There's still things to prove, but
if I'm a player, would you want your home games to be in London?
That's
a lot of travel.
That's a lot of tough travel right there. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think it wouldn't be, and why you'd think it'd be Mexico City and Toronto, but
right.
No.
Toronto, I can see. Definitely. Or Montreal for that matter. But, I mean, London's a hike. That's a hike. And you talk about home field advantage. You talk about, I mean, if you're a player and you're looking down your schedule, you're the Minnesota Vikings and you go, we got to go to Toronto. We got to go to freaking London. It's a lot. You talk about the traveling secretary having their work cut out for him or her. That's a nut. Because you got to start booking that before the season starts. Basically, that's a lot to entangle.
And where's your off season? Where's your off season stuff done?
Exactly.
I mean, do you have a place in the States you do it, and you do the season and pack up and move over like you do a Super Bowl, where you basically move a franchise for a week, or are they in London year round and just getting used to the culture and everything there? That'd be the other thing I'd want to know. You know, how many months am I there? Am I there for the 6 months of the season? And we're in Sarasota, Florida, with a facility, or what? What's going on?
Could you imagine a Super Bowl trophy being awarded to a team from London?
Yeah, it'd
just be surreal. Everything we talked about, I just don't want to see it. And if I'm a player, I don't think I'd want it. I really don't. I can't see them. That's not intriguing to me from a fan standpoint. So,
did you have anything else?
No, man, I'm good. I'm excited for today, dude. I know you and I'll be meeting this week. You got a much needed vacation coming up, and any programming notes you want to talk about? I know we got a bunch of shows. You did a wrestling thing last night. We get a lot of stuff here on the network, and buddy, you are ripping it up. Let me tell you that. So kudos to you. Kudos to the vision and the mindset. And we talked about this, not on the air, but I'm very impressed and very happy and very excited to be a part of the team.
Thank you. I had 2 people reach out to me last night, one who works here and one who doesn't. Just like, wow, you're going all hours. And I'm like, pounding the table, grabbing the bull by the horns like I said I would.
Yeah.
This is all about, and I trust you and you, Kelly and Sarah, to have the reins while I'm gone, but I got to go do this. I got to get away for a week, and it's my dad who passed. His trip they allowed me to use the credit from that. So we weren't just going to throw that away.
Yeah.
So it's not like I just went out and booked a cruise to go have fun. It was like kind of doing this in Dad's honor. And, so he'd be pissed if he found out I didn't go. He would be so mad.
Sure. Yeah, he would. And you know what? You need it, not only because of what you dealt with your dad passing, because you're working a lot, and sometimes you need to decompress and go away, get out of the eye of the storm, so to speak, and, for lack of a better term, because you're right involved in it now. You're doing a bunch of stuff, and you need to re-energize and reboot and refresh, unplug that cord and plug it back in when you get back. And so that'll be well needed and deserved.
Be ready to go, because when we come back, it's 2 weeks to the Sean Thornton event. It's the next day is the Super Bowl, and we're going to be at Scotty's for a broadcast for the Super Bowl. Just a lot going on. The NFL draft, Scotty's all 3 days. We worked out that deal the other day. So just big things coming. Cooperstown weekend is all booked. Group of 12 or 13 of us going. And just doing a show there. I've hit a few restaurants up in the area to do remotes, bring people in. And Wrigley Rooftop in July. Just waiting to hear back. Just the approval that they have enough bandwidth that we can do broadcasts up there. And I told them we'd get Red Sox fans in there for them. So that's what it's about. It's about building relationships and just pounding the pavement and, treating everybody good and just seeing the team so happy. First formation has been an unbelievable find. I got to talk to those guys before I leave. Just everything. But running up roses, we got everything in the right hands. So.
You bet. And it's always a pleasure.
I said to an employee the other day, we were fractured for a little while. We were fractured, but we went to rehab and we're walking, definitely running with the numbers we're getting.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you got to take that. You got to get injured a little bit, so to speak, fractured, as you say, and realize things. But that's a good thing, and you learn from it, and you're rebounding, and you know what to look for. I mean, that's all part of the learning process and growing, and that's what we want to do here is grow. And I see a lot of growth potential, and we're already growing in such a short time. So, hey, the sky's the limit, man, and that's what we like to do. But I want to say we're all real people too. What you see with Buddy and me is pretty real. We're just a couple of guys talking sports, enjoying it, having an opinion, backing it up, and that's what I love about it. And that's what I love the interaction, and that's what I love to be out there and just it's fun. We're not curing cancer. It's not rocket science. We get that, but we still love doing it, and we hope you love listening to it and interacting with us as well. So that's it, buddy, man. Always a pleasure. And we won't be on next Sunday because you'll be away, but we'll be doing stuff with the Super Bowl. But keep in touch at E2Gsports.com. With broadcast on Blog Talk Radio. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Keep us informed on the social and keep us up to date, if you will. And just keep in touch with us. We want to be there. So anyway, buddy, good stuff. Have a great Sunday, man.
All right, you too. I'll talk to you in a little bit, and enjoy your football today, people. This is what it comes down to. These are the memories. These are the games that we remember. So enjoy.
Yep. Happy Championship Sunday, everybody. Take care, stay well, and be safe.